Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the PCS here for summer, sponsored by CDBC Bank. A quick reminder as you join in, thanking Riot Games, Carry Live, and Garena for the league operation and full production. This is Clement Chu, also known as Big Brain Bear. Now, sir, that's because you're a warm, friendly man who's going to take us into this third game. But second game for J Team of the night as they've got to play a lot of catching up to do here against DWT.
And I want to say that this is just too perfect of a storm. This feels way too scripted right here. We just had two games where MFT and both Impunity were in the lead, but they failed to eliminate Duish Team. I feel like Duish Team might be very, very motivated in this next game just because of how the night has went.
Again, we said the Duish Team can still make it. 2-13. Duish Team getting a win, move to 3, then of course, they have to beat Deep Cross, but it's still all possible. Their dream ends when one of Impunity or Meta Falcon team get a win, but that will not be tonight. Well, depending on PSG actually later with the way the night's gone. But still, at the very least, you'd have to think maybe they're safe for now, as J-Team have been on a bit of a tear. And Clement, we should also say, just quickly talking about playoff implications, if J-Team win, then Duish Team will not be able to reach 5, and we will have our top 8 for playoffs locked in.
It does seem almost impossible, but I will say, Duish Team still got a shot. I feel like fate is aligning for them. Type A J Team, the most important thing is obviously what they learned from Game 1. I feel like they came with a little bit of a slower strategy, coming in with the Azir here. And I think the interesting thing is Duish Team has actually been doing the same thing. After winning 2 out of 3 games playing the Samira, they kind of called it quits and just went back to Azir and Victor in the mid lane. I'm very surprised at why they shifted away from something that worked, but I hope that they can look at the games that happened today, look at the games that happened last week, and understand the power of a lot of these tempo team tops.
Because there's been a lot of diversity, as you're saying, tempo teams like the Elise you mentioned, that was such a good game from WSL. Kiana came through, had a good early game. The Nidalee as well. Maybe not the same result, but still the versatility in Duish Team's drafts when we don't know which direction we're going to get could work today against J-Team when we talked about J-Team a little bit earlier being stock standard. And as we look at supports here as well, kind of interesting comparison here, Clement, because I feel like when we talk about Duish Team at the moment, we're talking about WSL, we're talking about Xiao too, and how not really on the agenda as much. And even for Enzo, right? Enzo has been a supporting cast when Kongyu and Uniboy have been the focus too.
Yeah, and I feel like these two players here have really stepped up in their respective roles. For Enzo, the engage is huge. The laning factor is absolutely massive. And for NL, we've actually seen some good ROM games come out on his part. This is, I think, a pocket pick of his that is a lot of times underrated on the side of Duish Team because it allows them to get so much skirmishing power on really these unorthodox carries that could be coming from the jungle. You have a Braum there, and then you suddenly see these double AD comps coming out with the potential of a Kindred, with the potential of the Graves, just for faster stuns.
True, those crazy picks that as we now get in the draft, we can start looking out for, right? Samira banned against Duish Team to start off, so that's always a nice little blessing here is we get the Poppy, Yumi, Silas, pretty standard elsewhere.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing that we have seen so far is just the power of Sivir in these drafts. Sure, MFP didn't win with the first pick Sivir, but they were damn close. So I think a lot of the times what teams are looking forward to is I'm actually willing to just pick Sivir even without the Yumi, to be completely honest.
Zeri's another one.
Yeah, Zeri is another one here too. I feel like the draft priority has shifted basically to those two.
So, give over Zeri, who's going to be the other response. Lucian, something we've seen still linger in there, though. So, Luffy and Enzo want to return to the Lucian Nami lane, Clement, which, has been played a couple of times. It's 50-50.
I hope we get a Draven not lane in response. Bang2 is actually one of your Draven players in our league. But nah, they're going to go with something a little bit safer if they do lock this in. Getting my hopes up.
Okay. All right, Clement. We've got another pick to do it. But when they hover a fellow, they're like, we're just going to do it anyway. WSL returning to the Lee Sin Lulu this early on. Well, you know Nami's going to be coming through. I guess you don't care, Clement.
Lulu's
Maybe you
interesting here. I want to point out that Lulu's been one of those picks that we have seen being flexed on Jewish team before, just because they have played double 80 carry combos quite a bit.
Right.
So there's a potential for you to run like double 80, double support, which is something that Sem9 did this split already, and I think Jewish team has done in the past as well. So it does leave a lot of interesting choices open for them. I will say though, I don't see Xiao2 being able to carry the game on something like a Lulu. I still feel like he is a big part of their damage and their aggressiveness.
Well, especially if you're going up against something like the the Ahri in the mid lane, right? I guess your option's going to be quite limited here as Jewish team. Are they going to round out the bottom lane? The Aphelios was looked at before. It's such a strong pick, and I know you like the Draven, something volatile, Clement, but safety for Jewish team seems to be the response.
Yeah, it does seem like Jewish team are going to go for what is a protect the carry type of composition, and this is definitely a comp that has been known to outscale what J-Team have. J-Team so far have not drafted any range under composition, so if it goes to late game, then Aphelios is definitely going to dominate a lot of these team fights. The question now is, how do you survive the early game? I like the Lee Sin in there to kind of make sure they have a good priority lane, but they also need, I think, the two other picks to work out here. I feel like this is a good shell to play, but you need picks that can actually contest early lane. I've always said this, but I think you need at least mid jungle to be winning for this Jewish team draft to work.
Well, Xiao2 is someone who plays, with mid jungle, right? We've seen Zoe, Silas. Right now, Silas is banned, but Zoe's still available if you want to take it against the Ahri. What else, Clement? LeBlanc?
No, please, no. Yes,
oh,
yes,
yeah.
There we go. Hey.
LeBlanc, Clement, okay.
We called it. All right, Xiao2 and me are actually on the same wavelength, brothers from another mother. Great stuff right there. I think this is exactly what I wanted to see. Strong mid jungle, you can move bot lane and protect bot even if it gets off to a bad start, and it gives you just more avenues of play. If you just snowball mid jungle, then hey, you can start playing through that as well. And we have to remember, LeBlanc actually a strong matchup into Ahri.
Yeah. And for Xiao2 picked up one of his game wins on it as well, so filling me with a bit of hope here for Jewish team as counterpick for Lacune. He's been a Gwen player, he's been a Gragas player, GP. He's also played the Shyvana up in the top lane. And against Gnar, that's been seen as a pretty good matchup, but Jax with Grasp has just been seen worldwide. That's a good response as well, Clement. So we are going to get ourselves a Bounce House Jax pop for Jewish team.
So if we look at this composition overall, I think J-Team absolutely needs their bottom three-man game to work. If it doesn't, they're gone. Because this is a team with very short range and almost no engage. This is an incredibly difficult team to play for J-Team. I like how J-Team are doing 180s just between these two games. Going from super passive to this type of composition.
Yeah.
On the other hand, for Jewish team, I like their comp a lot as well. I feel like this is well-rounded. They can play 1-3-1. They can play 4-1. They have hyper carry potential. Later, it's just about the way that these early skirmishes develop. If it's a mid-jungle 2v2 from the side of Jewish team, I give it to Jewish team. But if J-Team are able to link up all four people in the bottom side, then J-Team should win out on those skirmishes. So it's about how the fights develop and the amount of people that are participating.
So getting the bottom three ahead early for J-Team. As you said, a 180, you're right. J-Team had the most passive, one of the most, let's call it boring comps, right? That didn't suit what we've been seeing on the patch at all. And then suddenly we're like, okay, let's go back to Lucian Nami. Let's make sure the Ahri gets ahead as well. Clement, I want to see if J-Team can play the early lane because so far, we also know, as you pointed out, that Jewish team have drafted that Lee Sin, a good interim champion, a good champion to get them to that point. And I feel like for Jewish team, when everything's on the line, this is the kind of draft you can be quietly confident in.
Yeah.
Against J-Team, against the rest of the PCS, this is it. If you lose this, you're done. You're out. And Impunity and Meta Falcon team will be sitting on the bench after their, let's be real, very disappointing games today and get away with it scot-free. Jewish team, Give us a little bit more.
That's why I'm rooting for Jewish team and the script writers right here. I feel like it's been a little bit too convenient how our first 2 games have gone. Jewish team, you know, you might not have Carson Maple, but you still have Xiao2 and WSL playing the Lee connection coming in
thing.
here. Yeah. For my next magic trick, I'm gonna take Jewish team to playoffs.
Oh wow! You're gonna be telling me next is that Jackie Love bottom lane? Like, who else we got on this team, Clement? Because that's gonna help it out quite a lot.
We're going on a bit of a stretch here, but I honestly really like this draft. I feel like this is a strong draft throughout. The early jungle is always super important when you run this because you need a bit of a lead on Lee Sin and LeBlanc, especially after a lot of these patches to stay ahead here. LeBlanc has fallen off a cliff in terms of relevancy for good reason. So we have to pay close attention to for the red buff games, and you can tell J Team know that this is in the trick as well, as they already have an early ward down to spot if WSL does go for a cheeky level 2.
Straight into that pixel brush. The opposite side starts as well. Worth mentioning as Lacune is going to be jumping on Rock, and you know, seeing a Jax go for the level 1, nothing real new today. Instant grasp as well, as he started Leap Strike, guys, so doesn't get that auto off for the second grasp, but still a really good start as Kongyue walks past that ward. He's spotted out by Bang2 and Enhao.
Yeah, they should be completely comfortable here. And I will say the level 2 has been J-Team's kind of go-to play. We have seen a lot of Kongyue pathings just go here. The question is WSL going to face check? Oh no, he's not going to walk into the jungle per se, but he is down a lot of HP, and Kongyue wins this hands down.
Oh yeah, I mean, lethal tempo as well. WSL can't risk to stick around as he's just looking for a steal. Pings are coming down. Enso and Lil V are coming to help out, but so is Enhao and Bang2. But you look at Aleutian Nami here, is even without the smite, Kongyue trying to build it up. He's not level 2, but Enhao has to flash over anyway. Electrocute and a summoner down, and that is the start for J-Team. So you want to see is Kongyue's just not even leaving.
I'm kind of surprised that Jewish Team tried to force this even harder.
He's got smite again. Level 3 now, he's got a pillar, and there's no flash on Lulu. Enhao's dead, WSL flashes as well, and Bang2 has to heal. This is an absolute nightmare for Jewish Team.
Not sure what the communication is on the side of Jewish Team, but that was a no-win situation. There was no chance that they were actually going to win that 3v3, and they went back in after burning a flash. I just don't understand it. That's a very peculiar move to me. J-Team obviously with a massive lead.
Clement, if that Sonic Wave connected, maybe there was something different, but as Xiao2 goes all in, we might be flipping the coin a bit here as Uniboy. No, he's not going to have a charm available, so Kongyue just helps him push out the mid lane turret. Bottom side completely belongs as Kongyue is not even worrying about blue buff. It still sits there as WSL at level 2 is now going to try and get this top side map as his own.
Yeah, and it's always kind of rough when you're level 2, around 4 minutes.
Oh my god, no. It's even though it's a small thing, it's just already showing that Jewish Team's early game is out of this world as a tragedy. It's a 1k gold lead, by the way, and as WSL whittles away at this blue buff, look who's coming up.
It's okay. It's okay. If there's one thing I know about WSL is that he's super resilient. He probably has single-handedly had all of the worst starts that we have seen in the PCS this split. So I feel like he will rebound for this, but obviously the biggest thing is that with Lee Sin being this far behind, it's very difficult to then give priority and make LeBlanc as a pick work out. That is where the real repercussions are going to come in, which means that, you know, J-Team can likely roam Uniboy and Kongyue into that bot lane before Jewish Team even has a say.
That bot lane that's already set up, I mean, Enhao still has a flash timer. Half the cooldown now gone as they know that WSL's on top side. You see Kongyue still clearing faster as cameraman. We're going top side. That's because, like, you know, he's just taken away the poke 1, 2, and 3, and yeah, Rock is just having such a fun time too. And look, it don't even need to be level 6, Clement. Kongyue, as he spots out this ward, he's just going to move into bully WSL. He has no fear as he puts a pillar down, and Kongyue just starts bopping away. Good kite away from Xiao2. as WSL's Wolf resets, and look who's here to join in the fun.
Yeah, they didn't find the early 2v2. You really want to get that in before Ari hits level 6. The reason why I liked the LeBlanc Lee Sin 2v2 is because they can get damage on you so quickly. You know, you stun one down with a root, and then Lee Sin flies in. Jewish team trying to get this 3v3 again, not a
why? He's got no flash. And how? Why are you anywhere near here?
No.
Thank you so much. Well, that's why I was wondering, why are we hovering the supports, Clement? There is improvement, but oh boy, oh boy.
I don't get it. I really don't. That again, not a fight that Jewish team had any business winning. Good find here by Xiaotu. At least he's gonna get some damage on, but look, even J Team is peeing the question mark. They're like, what? Why? How are we getting these kills on this Lulu? Like, what's happening here?
It's just so odd. Like, J-Team is so obvious to the fact that you don't have flash. They saw you burn it.
Yeah.
I don't know, Mr. Chu, but hey, Kongyue ain't complaining. He's a trundle now with a kill too. A double longsword already picked up as WSL is going to try something.
I don't see how they make this work. I feel like this is more of a defensive play. You know, the minion wave is going against them, and even our observers know that nothing's going to happen.
Yep.
Kongyue even gets lucky with this Scuttle Steal here. Okay, so you know, that's a reasonable play. Push the lane out, cover them, and go for Drake.
Set yourselves up, okay. Well, it means that it's going to be taken before anyone else can get nearby. I'm just kind of wondering about the response play, because Kongyue sits mid. And so it's going to try and make this pretty difficult. At 500, Smite comes through, but look, here's the boys again. Ignite down, Acroprison doesn't connect, but Uniboy has Spirit Rush. Kongyue flashes, and his pillars are just being great. The Jax is in 2 with a great counter-strike, and it means that Kongyue will actually go down, but Uniboy with a reset, and now Lil V with the movement speed. He's got flash, Acroprison doesn't connect, and Lil V lucky to be alive. Xiaotu flashes as well. This LeBlanc gets the combo, and Xiaotu now on the board. A good counterpunch from Jewish team, finally in this game.
Yeah, great stuff from Lacunai, coming all the way from the top lane to make sure that they have a way back into the game. You know, this is one of those veteran top lane tricks, is sometimes you just gotta leave your lane to make something happen in the bottom side. I actually feel like that's the correct call here. Lacunai was spotted along the way, and the J-Team still went for it. You know, Spirit Rush was already used right there, and I think this does give Jewish Team actually a 1-kill lead here. It stops some of the bleeding from the bot side. I feel like it was a worthwhile roam on the side of the Jax, especially with Xiaotu on the board as well.
There's only one piece of plating taken from Rock in the top lane. CS not even that far down as well as Lacunai moves back to his top lane. As you said, Xiaotu getting the kill when this LeBlanc and Lee Sin haven't been able to sync up early. It's nice here for Jewish Team when the early game was going pretty awry. And Clement, you know what I know about today? Who cares about early games, dude? You can be 6,000 gold behind, but you can still win the game.
I actually feel that's a terrible lesson to take away from our first 2 games.
I mean, you don't take it seriously. It was just, you know, Meta Falcon Team and Impunity kind of dropped the ball. It is a very different situation, right? I mean, J-Team right now, unlike their last game, they're getting the comp ahead. As you said, this comp does need to ramp up, and even though it was a better trade for Jewish Team, Herald's still going to go down. There is still a big lead through mid, through bot. I feel like we need to see Jewish Team stop that imminent Herald, Clement, and I don't know if you can, because it's gone top.
Yeah, I feel like Jewish Team, they have to kind of go for one side at this point. Rock is very far ahead, and Lacunai had to walk back into lane, so he's in a very weak position, and the best that Jewish Team can look for is just the trade down here. All in all, I don't think it's too terrible of a trade. Sure, Nar might get ahead, but you have to remember that there is a timer on J-Team's bottom side too. If you deny farm from Lucian, Nami, and their kill threat goes down, it's very hard for them to then get back on ahead.
Don't like they're that far ahead at the moment either, though. As Herald gets top side, he does a bit of damage down. J-Team now looking for the escape. Xiaotu over the wall, but he's going to be by himself for the time being, as Lacunai about to join in, but Rock has Meganar, and you do not mess with the Rock when he's flexing the 8-pack. So, Jewish Team just back off, Clement, and it's still a J-Team gold trade. We're close towards 3,000. Actually, 2.5 at the moment. And I guess we wait until that next dragon coming up in a minute 45 before we see what they want to do. As Tidal Wave makes Bang 2 flash away, not trusting Enhao, and Enhao didn't have ult, so fair enough.
Yeah, actually a fairly decent flash away right there. If he got hit by both crowd controls, that was the culling going down. Yeah. He would have been low health and still needed to flash out. I think that was actually the correct call here for Bang 2. Of course, would have been better if he didn't put himself so close to the wall, but, you know, you can't avoid everything.
That's right. No one's perfect, alright? You know, you expect everyone to be as good as you as League of Legends, right?
Nah. I'm actually terrible at the game.
Yeah, that's because you don't play it. You play too much TFT. You gotta get away from that, dude.
Fun game. Oh, okay. You're right.
You went from defending your argument to giving up within half a second. Like, yeah, you feel so strongly about TFT, I can tell. You know, it's because we're not playing together. I understand, dude.
It's because I'm an old man. I'm a boomer with like arthritis hands, and
so
you know, League of Legends is so
Faker will be playing till 45. Doesn't matter. We play till 50.
There's no way he's playing. Zero chance.
I'm just telling you, times are changing as Kongyue peeked in the mid lane. We're going to get a bit of an electrocute trade as he's trying to set up for this dragon coming in 30 seconds. Clement, give me a quick run through your boomer man with what we're looking forward to for this next fight, because I do notice we have a couple of completed items from J-Team versus none on Duish Team so far.
Yeah, so the next big fight here definitely still in favor of J-Team. I feel like they have a lot of burst damage coming in this. And Duish Team honestly can only try to pick people off on the sides right here. Shiatsu going to take a lot of damage here.
Oh, yeah. He's already used the distortion away as well, as Enhao's going to help him out. Flash from Kongyue. And that means we get a wild growth from Enhao down before the fight. Clement, it didn't matter if J-Team were ahead or not. I mean, Duish Team have now obviously forfeited this one.
Yeah, and this is kind of the dynamic I was talking about. If Duish Team could find a 2v2, preferably pre-6, they could potentially put Uniboy behind. That didn't happen, and look at the way Duish Team is grouping. They have the far superior format. They can run at you with Kongyue, and he's pretty much unburstable. If he slows one target, it's almost an insta-kill from the rest of the combo's
The Kunai coming out of the brush. Rock is about to go Mega Gnar. There's Counter-Strike. There's Flash available for both these top laners. As this 1v1 is going to battle out, but look who's coming to save the day. WSL, as Rock has gone pretty deep, and the Kunai's already popped the ulti. The Sonic Wave to connect as Counter-Strike burst. Rock's ulti against the wall. The kick away. Sonic Wave stunned up. Rock flashes. WSL wants it, and he gets it. That's class here as Uniboy wants the trade. Now, with Flash Spirit Rush available, does he think he's dead? He absolutely does. And a 1-for-1 in the end, but WSL gets a star points in my book.
Yeah, he drags the game out a little bit further and, you know, gets a kill on the Gnar that was very accelerated from the early tower take. Also gives Xiaotu some time to just farm up plates right here. It is still 14 minutes. So I would call all in all that a pretty big win for Duish Team. They take the goal lead from 3K to now just down to about 2K. So, you know, about a net 1,000 gold advantage going over them.
And even though Xiaotu's behind by about 15 CS, like, those two turrets is subjugate's going to be used. He's just going to chase down Xiaotu. Pillar will be up and available soon as Kongyue, there was blood, and he sensed it, and he was like, I have to go for it.
Yeah, that was not advisable from Kongyue. Definitely didn't need to use the ultimate chasing into LeBlanc. I just think that Kongyue is one of those players that does you can get on his nerves. Like, you can force him to kind of throw down the gauntlet at times, and I'm not saying that's a strength. It's entertaining, but probably not the best thing for your players.
He's a passionate player. I'll say, like, SOFM's like that, Clement.
Yeah.
He'll have games where he's just out for blood, and then other games where he just wants to PvE. Look at where WSL is. Down the bottom side, he's going to be spotted on this ward. And that means Lil V can just back up against a turret. You also see that Kongyue is down in this bottom side angle. They have no idea in Duish Team, as Uniboy also has the push, Clement.
A lot of people coming in for them, and they have the wards down. WSL spotted a long time ago.
Bang 2 has no flash. Bang 2 has no flash. That pillar could be a death sentence itself. Everfrost for zoning as the charge next. Wild Growth saves the day as J-Team are running away, but Bang 2's still dead. A good tidal wave now with Imperial Mandate is slowed down by the chomp from Kongyue. The culling just out of reach for Uniboy from the flash. Charm! Duish Team have dropped 2 as Xiaotu comes in. That mid 2v2 bangs hard, but Kongyue wants to kill Lulu again. WSL runs into him, and the Trundle gets hard as Spirit Rush, Orbit Deception, and how up next, a triple over to Uniboy. And Xiao 2 will not deal with this Thunderous Man, as Rock, meanwhile, is sitting here laughing with his PvE experience.
J-Team win a 4v5 in the bottom side. Jewish team get picked off, the Cavalry arrive, don't manage to find the comeback kills. That ends up being a massive disaster. They go up 3,000 gold just with that one play, cleaning up the bottom side of Jewish team.
God, every single time. You know, these flashes the punish so well, Clement. Bang 2 so deep without that summoner.
Yeah, he gets caught off for sure right here. You know, he does survive for a fairly long time, but unfortunately the electrocute kills him at the very end, coming in from Enzo. And then Lacuna, I don't think he needed to go in that deep, you know? The Jax got maybe 2 auto attacks before falling down here, and that is what really enables the 4v5 to happen. Kongyue actually, I think correctly, understands that he can't really impact the LeBlanc Lee Sin, so he just chases down Enzo instead.
He's just, again, a man on a mission, like, ignoring everything else, and how just so scared from this Trundle, who has really had the number of WSL. There's been a couple of good response plays, but we go back to that blue side invade. As Clement, I can hear the robot setting in on my stream. All I'll say to you is this, look at that 4 Atamari mid.
Oh boy, we got the Magi Soul Stealer already. That's 10 stacks, granting the extra movement speed. I don't know how Jewish team are going to survive. We have talked about their late game, the way they're running this comp. It's a bit of a compromised comp in terms of that the power spikes are meant to cover each other. Bane 2 now, getting stuck underneath tower, has to burn both summoners.
Again, the flush is now down again, and Enzo gets it.
Oh.
This Nami seeking out pressure as well. Kongyue flashing over a wall, as look who he's going for. And how has no flash, and Kongyue knows it. As J-Team, it's such a vast difference from our starting game. But J-Team playing this early game so much better, and Clement finally being proactive here.
Oh man, Enzo's so good with the Aqua Prisons this game. You know, this feels like he's Fuku sashimi. Like he definitely kills you if you go too close. Little V, can he get out?
Away, Gale Force against the wall, he's dead. And that's a good window from Jewish team, seeing Kongyue back.
Yeah, absolutely. Just getting those picks down one by one. We have to remember J-Team are running with a lot of very low health members, so this is definitely a play that can happen over and over again. But the problem here is that there's no way for Bane to actually get to the fight right now.
Yeah, DP, Uniboy in melee range, Everfrost, and the jungle's just dead. The Kunai is going to be up next as Uniboy has one more Spirit Rush. Gets over the wall, another double for Uniboy as Xiao 2 is late to the show. Uniboy with his reset, the charm not connecting, the flash from Rock, and he's close to picking up a kill of his own. He auto connects, and Xiao 2's dead as well. Clement, they don't even need their AD carry because Uniboy is stealing the show.
Way too optimistic from Jewish team. Sure, they pick off Little V, but that was not a fight that they could take just as a 4v4.
He's the weakest member. Clement, the Nami's stronger than him. Like,
wait, that's true.
Oh, God. As you said, a fight that can't be taken. Walk me through this.
Well, there's not a whole lot to say right here. You know, Uniboy goes in and pretty much just kills WSL by his own, and, you know, Enhao gets another meeting with Kongyue, just chomping him down on the left side. Zanya's on the right side. He doesn't fall down here, and Rock also joins from the top. He didn't continue to push here. So I just feel like Jewish team were way too optimistic on that take. That was a good take, but what they really needed to do was use that to see if they could bait J-Team to extend a little bit further and try to find a couple more picks.
Did you see who Kongyue killed? Kongyue just ran down Enhao again. He literally just aims for this Lulu every single fight.
That's all I'm gonna say. It's like, I like the taste of purple. It just keeps on chopping down on the Yordles.
It's like, no, I'm so sick of Lulu, you know. Personal support experience. Kongyue again targeting him as flash available this time as running up to the turret. Pillar great on Bang 2 without his summoners. WSL now comes in for the angle. Shout's here
Shout
as well, but they know he's there. The ping's on to Enzo as he's going to be bursted out. Sonic Wave is going to connect, and they get around him, but
no!
Wait! That
Yeah,
Aqua Prison was inhuman! Enzo gets MVP right now. The rest of this fight is done. That was just insane, Enzo! What the hell?
I'm at a complete loss for words. Enzo on the support is actually the real carry of the team. Aqua Prison to stop 2-2. I haven't seen that.
It's such a small win. Like, Aqua Prison.
It's so telegraphed.
It's so clean. Like, oh my god, Enzo's getting MVP. If it's not the case, Clement, we'll be having a word. Because J-Team, that last fight, clean because of it, 10k gold lead. Let's look again.
Oh, we need slow-mo on this. We need slow-mo
Yeah.
on this. All right. Observers are giving it to us. You know, burst goes down, and Aqua Prison.
Just so clean as we come back, and this one's in the bin. I mean, it's a shame DWT shut out early, Clement, in a game that matters so much for their summer split. They might have more games to play, but at this rate, with the way the game is, and Baron now not going to be contested by WSL, who's dead, DWT are looking at getting eliminated here in the final week. And Impunity Meta Falcon team will lock themselves in if J-Team can continue on this win.
I can't believe the gatekeeper was the mermaid at the end. I really thought we were going to see some more from Uniboy and Kongre. You know, the narrative was like that. But Enzo, man, this split has been so amazing from this guy. Just winning the lane 2v2s, this shows you why that, you know, J-Team is the team that picks Lucian Nami the most out of all the teams here. As we take a look at how WSL fell during the replay. So he actually chases against Kongre. It's not a 1v1 he was going to win, but he had some help onto Shout 2. Unfortunately, Uniboy gets there first and manages to snipe him out.
Everfrost doesn't connect as well, but you're right, when Uniboy is there, even if it's a 2v2, you look at Uniboy in comparison, 25 stacks of the Magi's, he's got his Zonias fully completed, needlessly large rod. Right now, Shout 2 is dealing with bits and pieces. He's looking for coupons, while Uniboy, he's shopping at the best supermarket around. He's not only buying fresh vegetables, Clement, he's literally buying, you know...
Full organic.
Yeah, dude. You know, the chicken had its own butler before he, you know, purchased it, and Cullen comes through.
Goodbye.
Rock didn't even need to ult because Lil V just goals. And double kill now from Lucian that has been talked about as kick onto Kongue. They're using a lot, but he's still not dead. J-Team can't do any wrong in this game as DWT are just out of options, Clement, with the Baron buff, with the top laner dead, with Enhao dead again, which seems kind of personal at this point. J-Team are going to knock out DWT from the PCS summer split. It would have been a hard task, but as they lay here with their backs bare, it's DWT who had no options. Bang 2 is going to be pillared and killed immediately. Shout 2 poked out as WSL the same. Enhao is back up and available, but this Baron minion is doing work. J-Team are going to make this a slow burn, Clement.
They still have the cannon minions in, and they're not going to go anywhere. Shout 2 trying to look for an angle on Little V, and so he's
done.
Get it.
Lacuna is going to start spinning with wild growth as well. I mean, J-Team are playing this out as the flashing from Shout 2 might keep the game going, but Uniboy is the one who is still got a spirit rush. Lacuna jumps in, and yet again it's the same response. We're going to bury DWT here in this game, and J-Team are going to conduct the ceremony. After they're back here, a 2-0 day, 10-4, a great return for J-Team in the PCS.
And we have to sing our goodbyes to DWT. This split was... It was a lot of name changes, it was a lot of highlight moments. I felt like they actually had a lot of good games compared to their previous splits. I don't think that the end results were indicative of their growth. Unfortunately, still not enough to get them into the playoffs. I just felt like DWT got on the right track way too late. They didn't find their 2 wins until the very back end of week 3, and I believe the start of week 4. So, you know, they had a track that made them successful. They had some very good drafting. I actually feel like Jewish team drafts have been some of the best out of any of the teams, and they've always given themselves a win condition, regardless of, you know, the relative player strength to the rest of the league. Unfortunately, I still think the player strength issue is huge. This game, particularly in their draft phases, the Lee Sin LeBlanc didn't work out. Like, it didn't find a 2v2. And I have to say, a lot of it did still come down to the fact that Enhao and Bang2 are just not great in the 2v2 lane. It was a very weird start of the game where we saw Enhao's first 2 deaths were pretty obvious. Like, I don't know how he thought he was gonna get out of those situations. You look at it, it was like, oh, he's dead. So, and he died.
I think you're right. The problem in the 2v2, all round, like WSL and Xiaotu have kind of shown that they can be not reliable. That's definitely not the word. They can be, you know, great class PCS players, but the biggest problem right now, as you said, is the name difference across everyone in the league. Like Jewish team, their wins, Clement, one came from Beyond Gaming, didn't it? Or was it Deep Cross? It was a huge upset.
Jewish team beat Deep Cross Gaming. They beat Deep Cross Gaming.
But you know, they lost to Sem9. They, you know, lost to Meta Falcon team. Jewish team beat Frank Esports. They had very surprising wins throughout the split, and you could see where they could correct their wrongs. But I mean, at the very least, Clement, I think the biggest thing to take away from this is that for Jewish team, good building blocks. Draft, as you said, they've been so much fun to watch. Their drafts have been a little bit different, but there's always been a really strong thematic, which feels like that's what a lower team needs. Like, draft strategy to be on point, and to be fair, it still was.
Yeah, I actually felt like this draft was fine. The execution, however, definitely a little bit off here.
Yeah.
And I feel like Jewish team, the problem with them is that the games where they have won their lanes have actually come from the bot lane. They've come from a massive investment into bot lane and to aggressive snowball picks like Samira to give them the lead there. Once they've moved on to any other pick, it hasn't been so successful. And also, I think that points to, you know, the problem with WSL and Shao too, is that yes, they have highlight plays, they clearly have very high mechanical ceilings, but unfortunately, they rarely get a good early start in their own lanes themselves.
Uniboy MVP there you go. J-Team have got their mid laner back in action. Just looking at MVPs now and trying to find out who actually had the top when we last left. It was Enzo, Kongyue, and Lil V actually. Uniboy also tied there with the rest of them. So now going to be tied up with Enzo, and that was just such a good Ari game. And it's so funny because I feel like Kongyue really started off on his trundle.
Yeah, whenever Enhao was around the corner, he was just chopping him down. I still feel like Enzo deserves the MVP. He's definitely the biggest.
Oh, actually. Yeah, Clement. Wait, why am I not more upset?
Yeah, I know. I'm surprised too.
What? Hang on. Oh.
Did they not see that bubble?
I don't know.
That bubble's enough for like player of the week. So
maybe it's like me. Maybe it's like me where I'm just like, you know, oh yeah, the Ari looks so good. The kill score good. I should not be forgetting about the Ari.
Enzo is the biggest story behind the rise of J-Team, 100%. Because J-Team's biggest change is they're winning bot lane consistently. And that comes out of the change between Witty and Enzo.
It's just such an insane game. I mean, Lil V was quiet. Enzo was not. But for J-Team, another win on the board. They'll move up to 10 here and get closer towards that bubble. Goodbye to Jewish team. Hello to our top 8. As we'll talk about it when we get back from a break, especially with Meta Falcon team. This is PSG.